Welcome back to Trading with CJ. Today we're talking about one of our firm favourites on the channel. This is a penny stock of mine and one of my favourite ones, okay? Hitid, ticker symbol HITID. Last time we spoke it would have been TIF. But yeah, things have changed, okay? And we're going to get into all the updates on this one. If you appreciate this, please go ahead and smash a like and subscribe to my channel as well. So first off, without wasting any further time, let's get straight into this. The big news, there's a lot to cover, but the big news would be the share price. The share price has drastically looks different. It drastically changes. It looks different right now, okay? You'll be looking at your account, thinking, what's happened here? Why am I suddenly sitting on crazy prices? At this time of recording, it is $7.67. Now, you might be thinking, last time we spoke about this, it was trading at about 50 cents or something like that. It was less than $1 per share, and as you can see, it has considerably jumped up. And with that as well, like I say, the ticker has now changed HITID on the OTC markets. So why is that? Well, we had a reverse split. Now, the reverse split in essence here has basically boosted the share price. We had this news come out, announces details of consolidation to meet the Nasdaq listing requirements. We spoke about getting Hitid listed on the Nasdaq so many times on my channel, okay? They want to uplist to the Nasdaq to have that exposure to more and more investors, more exchanges, etc. And it's a great thing. Overall, listing on the Nasdaq is a great thing. However, you can't do it with a price less than $1. So they needed to boost the share price in order to get this up. So I'm calling this a penny stock, but technically we are now in the $7 range. But as far as I'm aware, this has always been a penny stock since we've been speaking about them. So it doesn't feel right to call it anything else. However, technically we are now no longer. But what I will say right here is this. The consolidation, what it was a 15-to-1 share consolidation, and that's the Nasdaq Capital Market listing is expected to be May 2021, and it will change to HITI. Okay, that's on a Canadian market. So things are quite interesting now with this one. It was a 15-to-1 share consolidation, and you can actually see the shares. It was the existing shares was 690,800,000, and it has now been reduced to 46 million. So there's less shares available now on the market for a higher price. So in essence, if you had before 15 shares of Hitid, you will now have 1 share of Hitid. You haven't lost any money, but what's happened is the price has gone up. So nothing has really changed to your position. You still have the same amount right now, okay? You'll just have 15 less shares, but the price will be 15 times higher. Swings and roundabouts. But what it does is it gives Hitid the chance to get on the Nasdaq. So if you actually see this tweeted from them, this was obviously a couple weeks ago. Today's news represents a significant milestone towards Hitid becoming the first major cannabis retailer anywhere in the world to be listed on the Nasdaq by the end of this month. And that was on May the 12th, okay? And as you can see, we're getting closer and closer to the end of the month. Following that, Raj Grover, who's actually the CEO, also basically echoed it as well, saying hopefully we'll begin trading on Nasdaq by the end of this month, okay? So things are definitely exciting for this one. Let's have a look at the share price. This is automatically actually factored in the 15-to-1 share price. So even if we go back to, say, 6 months ago, you can see December time, it's put it at about $2. Now, obviously, it wasn't at $2 back then. It was around about 30 cents or something like that. But it's factored that in. But so the graph is very much showing you the growth right now. So if we do actually go on the 1 month graph, you can see we're actually up about 6% right now. And considering most of the penny stock market is down, you can see Hitid has had some big spells. It actually went up to almost $9 a share, literally just a few days ago. So since then it has somewhat dropped off, but the news keeps coming out around this. So that's all of our talk here about the reverse split. There's a lot of other news I want to touch on, particular here. And this was one here. This was an article here from the Motley Fool. Most of you know Motley Fool. One cannabis stock under $1 with strong growth potential. And you can guess what they're talking about here. They are talking, of course, about Hitid, the largest cannabis network in Canada, which we spoke about so many times. Now with over 83 branded retail outlets. And they say it's become the largest cannabis network in the country in terms of revenue. And it continues to grow. The numbers are looking great. We've covered the financials before so many times. Growing quarter after quarter. Things are really looking good, and they're getting more and more big acquisitions. You can see in May they had the CBD City, and since then they've gone on to create so many more. You can check out all my previous updates. However, there was one more big acquisition they actually recently acquired, and that was this one. Okay, this was a leading CBD e-commerce retailer, FAB CBD. This was massive. This was a couple of weeks ago, May the 10th. They acquired this leading e-commerce retailer, which is absolutely massive for them. Okay, they are turning over great revenue right now. The consideration for 80% of I want to call it Fabricad, which is being acquired by Hitid, is going to be valued at $8.08 million, and that's US dollars right there. And the cash portion of the transaction has been funded entirely with cash on hand. We know that Hitid had a decent amount of cash on hand, and you can see their revenues of at least $13.5 million US dollars in 2021. Which will be paid if due in Hitid shares based on the volume weighted average price. So this was a massive acquisition for them as well. They already have two massive giants, okay, Smoke Cartel recently, Grass City, CBD City. Lots of great big acquisitions here for Hitid. So obviously getting another one here on another leading CBD e-commerce retailer. They have the accessory platform, the biggest accessory platform out there as well, and the second largest accessory platform. So now they have a leading e-commerce retailer as well. Things are really looking great for this one. That was a big acquisition for them. Following on from that, we actually had another big bit of news. This was very recently, just a few days ago. Hitid achieves further recognition with addition to the Cannabis ETF, ticker symbol THCX. You may have heard of this ETF. It's basically a collection of some of the best cannabis stocks out there. Okay, so if you don't know which one to pick, you can buy the ETF, and you basically get a small percentage of each of these. And that's how this ETF works. And now you can see Hitid have been added to that ETF, which of course gives them a bit of recognition right there. And it's good for them as well. It's going to put it's going to put this company on more investors' radar. So that was a great thing from them. So the good news does keep coming out from Hitid, and to be fair, it's one of the only penny stocks right now that is seeing nice green. Okay, however, of course, there has been slight dips here and there, and I'm sure the reverse split has very much helped with this. But there is news. This sector is growing. The cannabis industry is growing and growing. Whether you believe that or not, it actually is right now. You can see lots of different countries are growing the revenues for this, and the demand is picking up. UK CBD sector estimated value almost $1 billion US dollars, exceeding 2021 sales predictions. Okay, we are nowhere even near legalized over here. However, I'm sure it's a matter of time. It definitely seems to be going that way. You can see the CBD sector is now over $1 billion. Swiss Parliament votes in favor of adult use cannabis legalization. Now, Switzerland here, okay, taking it on their wraps. Obviously, as we know, Hitid want to expand into Europe as well. Switzerland's Europe, okay, they can definitely go out there for sure as well. We have this, Canada's 6th biggest city to consider lifting ban on cannabis stores. Now, obviously, Hitid is one of the leading players in cannabis, and if this is the 6th biggest city right now, this is going to be massive sales for Hitid, all to come in the future. Okay, that's just a touch on some of the latest news. I could go into all those articles, but I'm just trying to make this a quick update because we haven't spoke about Hitid for some time. So as we say, the stock has been performing quite well over the last month. We did go up to almost $9 a share. Now, if we go back to the 6 months graph, most companies, most penny stocks did peak in February, okay? And it was kind of similar for Hitid. It would have been valued at about $11.70 on the 10th of February. So from those crazy highs right there, it is still considerably down about 34%. But this one is starting to be a bit more flatline ever since those crazy highs. So this is good to see, okay? And like I say, this doesn't bother me. I'm very bullish on this company. However, I'm not a financial advisor. If you are planning on investing, you should always do your own research first. If you want to check out any of my other videos on Hitid, exactly what they own, their acquisitions, their revenue, etc., etc., I've done so many videos on this company. But yeah, this was big, okay? Having this reverse split, having all of these sectors growing and growing, and of course, getting a few acquisitions under their belt as well. Let me know your thoughts on Hitid. Is this a company you're interested in? Let me know down in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. If you appreciate all these updates and videos, please go ahead and smash the like and subscribe to my channel. We're going to keep giving you updates on some of our favorite stocks out there as well. And until next time,